It feels like home, home, home. It feels like home, home, home. It feels like home.
Hey there friends, welcome to Weldon Home. Today I'm going to show you how I make a super easy and ultra delicious chocolate sourdough. I started last night with just a cup of bubbly and active sourdough starter and 1 cup of warm water and 2 tablespoons of honey. I give that a little mix with my fork, and then I add 4 cups of bread flour. It's important that you have bread flour or some other high protein flour. And then to that I add 2 tablespoons of cocoa, and that's of course going to give it its chocolate flavor, but I think what really adds a nice intensity of flavor and depth of flavor is I add 4 ounces of hot ristretto coffee and then 2 teaspoons of salt. So I just use this little Pete's pod and put that in my Nespresso maker, but if you don't have that, you could use some instant espresso and some hot water and add that to your mix. Then I just get that to come together with my fork until it gets pretty shaggy, and I allow my KitchenAid mixer with the dough hook to do the work for me. It brings it all together into a ball. Now you want to look for your ball of dough to clear and clean the sides of your bowl. It should completely clean the bowl and just look like a nice solid mass of dough. If it doesn't, you either need to add a little more flour if it's too wet, or you might need to add a tiny bit more water if it's too dry and not coming together. So one way or another, it should clean the bowl, and once it does that, I just remove the dough hook, I form it into a little ball, and I leave it to rest overnight with some saran wrap on it. And that's what we have here. It's risen overnight, and now I just have my buttered loaf pan, and I'm going to plop this right out onto my counter. You can see it looks nicely risen. And oh, I forgot to say, I also added about a half cup of dark chocolate chips to the mix. Now this is not an overly sweet bread, but it does have some sweetness because of the chocolate chips. You can omit those and it won't be nearly such a sweet bread. But I like the chocolate chips in it, and this is actually for my son, who doesn't love my other sourdough recipes, but he really likes this one because he loves chocolate. Ooh, lost one of my chips there. So now I'm just gonna press this down and let it sit for about 5 minutes and let it just kind of calm down, and then I'll show you how I roll it up, pop it in my loaf pan, and then I'll let that rise for a little bit. Now it's been sitting for about 5 minutes, and I've got a few little pockets of air, and I want to get those air pockets put out because this is just a sandwich loaf. I don't want great big bubbles in it, but I'm gonna pat it down and just kind of get it into a flat-ish rectangle. And you can see I put a lot of chocolate chips in. We like that. This is actually a sourdough for my son Paul, who doesn't like the regular sourdough, but he loves chocolate, so he actually likes this one. All right, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm just gonna take it. You wanna be able to really easily manage it. It shouldn't be any difficulty to get off of your counter at all. It should just be really easy. Now I'm just gonna take it and roll it up just like this. And I will go ahead and put it into my greased bread pan and let this rise. Now, if you have any interest in how to make a sourdough starter from scratch using just flour and water, put a comment down in the section below and just say, show me the starter, and I will try and get that out for you in the next couple of days. It's a process to get it there, but it's definitely worth having on hand your own starter if you don't want to go buy someone else's. But anyway, here's that loaf, and I'm just gonna let it sit in there and let it rise until it gets nice and big and billowy. So at this point, I'm just going to cover it up with a towel and let it rise till about 4 o'clock. So it takes about 45 minutes in the oven, and you want to give it several hours to rise and let it do its thing. So it doesn't require any stretching or folding or anything like that. It's super, super simple, but you do have to let it have its rise time. So sourdough rises slower than other yeast breads, So you do need to give it probably at least 3 hours of rise time. And I'm doing this at 2 o'clock. I'll probably put it into the oven at 5 o'clock. So I'll give it a good 3 hours and then I'll show you what it looks like then. So it's risen, I'm getting ready to put it in the oven, and I've preheated my oven to 500 degrees, and now I've turned it down to 375, and I'm gonna put this in for about 45 minutes. So here you can see I have our chocolate sandwich bread, and it is nice and sourdough-ish, and you can see the inside texture here is nice and just like you would want for a wonderful Nutella sandwich. We're just gonna have it as toast this morning, but I hope that you'll enjoy it. Also, I'm going to try and show you how I make chocolate sourdough wreaths with Nutella. So that'll be in an upcoming video as well, and they're great Christmas gifts. I hope you all are having a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.